I've always believed that some things should be left alone, that the dead should rest in peace. But I learned that lesson too late, because I made a mistake. And now, I don't know if I'll ever be free. Let me tell you what happened. Growing up, my grandmother, Aji, was a mystery. She was kind, but there was something about her that made me uneasy. Maybe it was the way she spoke in riddles or how she always wore the same necklace, day and night, for as long as I could remember. One evening, I finally asked her, Aji, why don't you ever take off that necklace? She looked at me, and for a moment, I swear, there was fear in her eyes. Because if I do, something terrible will happen. That was the first warning. And I ignored it. Aji passed away at 92. Peacefully. Quietly. Almost like she knew it was coming. At her funeral, I stood by her coffin, staring at her still face. She looked different. Not just lifeless, but almost like she was watching us. And then came her final wish. She wanted to be buried with her necklace, my uncle said. We all agreed. It seemed like a small request. Sure. It was late when my cousins, Rohit and Meera, came to see me. Their faces were filled with stress, and I could tell something was wrong. Priya, we need to talk, Rohit said, his voice quiet. What's going on? I asked, already sensing the weight of their troubles. Meera spoke first. We are drowning in debt, Priya. Rohit lost his job, and my business is failing. We've tried everything, loans, borrowing, but we are at a dead end. Rohit nodded. The bills keep piling up, and they've given me a deadline. If we don't pay, we lose the house. We don't have any options left. My heart sunk as I listened. They had always been proud, never asking for help. But hearing this was different. Why didn't you tell me earlier? I asked. It's Aji's necklace, Meera said, hesitantly. We need it, Priya. It's valuable, and it could solve everything. We can sell it, pay the debts, and start over. I froze. You want to dig up Aji's grave for a necklace? Rohit's eyes were filled with desperation. We've thought about it, Priya. We have no choice. We are not doing it out of greed, we are doing it to survive. I stared at them, torn. I knew it was wrong, but their fear was real. I can't believe we are doing this, but I'll help. We'll dig up the grave, get the necklace, and make it quick. They both looked relieved. Thank you, Priya, Rohit said. This is our last chance. And just like that, I was in. But that night, my cousins and I made a choice that changed everything. We dug up Aji's grave. I don't even know what came over us. Maybe greed. Maybe desperation. But when we opened the coffin, my stomach dropped. Just take it. Hurry. I hesitated. Aji's face was frozen, peaceful, but her hands, they were still gripping the necklace. I reached forward and pried it from her fingers. And in that moment, I swear on everything. Her eyes opened. I fell backward, gasping. My cousin screamed. But when I looked again, her eyes were closed. It had to be my imagination. Right? That night, everything changed. It started small. My room got unnaturally cold. My phone glitched. Shadows moved where they shouldn't have. Then I started hearing from her. At first, it was a whisper in the dark. Return it. I told myself I was imagining things. Until I woke up, and the necklace was back around my neck. I know for a fact I left it on my dresser. But there it was, ice cold against my skin. I ripped it off and threw it across the room. But the next morning, it was back. The nightmares got worse. Every night, I saw Aji standing in the corner of my room. Closer. Closer. Until I could feel her breath. One day, my cousin Priya called me, her voice shaking. She's haunting me too. That's when we knew. It wasn't just guilt. It wasn't just stress. It was her. We went to a priest, desperate for help. He listened quietly, then said something that made my blood run cold. You disturbed her rest. You must return the necklace. But it's not enough to just bury it, the priest said. Then what? I asked. You must place it back around her neck, he said. My stomach twisted. That night, we went back to her grave. My hands were shaking as we dug through the dirt. When we pried open the coffin, I nearly threw up. Aji's body had not decayed. Her eyes were open, watching us. The necklace trembled in my hand. Every part of me wanted to run. But I knew, if I didn't do this, she would never stop. I leaned in, hands shaking, heart pounding. I placed the necklace back around her neck. For a moment, silence. Then, she smiled. I don't remember running. I don't remember getting home. But the nightmares stopped. The whispers faded. I thought it was over. Last night, I woke up with a start. My room was freezing. My breath is visible in the air. I reached for my phone to check the time. But when I lifted my hand, there it was. The necklace. Around my neck. I can't take it off. No matter how hard I try. I don't know what to do. What would you do if this happened to you? Let me know in the comments.